Alright, this is like the 10th time I've been trying to record. Let's see if I can get it all in my head right now. Today I learned that Larry Kramer, founder of the first AIDS organization in this country, the Gay Men's Health Crisis, and the founder of ACTUP, organization which I was very proud to be a part of until its demise, passed away. He was 84 years old, and he was a very creative, very intelligent person, also big mouth, an asshole, pretentious at times, and no bullshit and a heart of gold. You kind of, it's all the things, right? It's all the things. I don't know if you even understand just how much you standing up when no one else would listen, and getting people to listen, including a one Dr. Anthony Fauci, became your lifelong friend. Yeah, some of you have actually heard of the Fauci now, yes. Some of us have known his name for a long time. And we talk about people who influenced us and all that. Larry was one of those people, because he just was no BS. You got exactly what was there. And for all the radicalization, as people look back at it now, right? You know, he was a radical, he was this, he was lefty and all that, right? He gave people with disabilities, particularly people with HIV and AIDS, which the stigma still exists to this day, even though we have all these laws and we're supposed to be so much more open-minded about things, right? What I learned from him was that I didn't have to have fear. I didn't have to sell out. We could get people on our side by just being honest and working our asses off. We talk about public protests. You know, I go back and forth with this with people, particularly gay white men, other gay white men in the community, when we have pride parades and all that, and this, you know, when they get protests in there, you know, trans people don't want the police there for a variety of reasons, or Black Lives Matter shows up to try and get their message across because they've been shut out. What many gay men forget is that we were also shut out, and somehow, now that we somehow have evolved, it makes me wonder, right? It used to be us together before the corporate sponsorships, before exploitation, before siding with exploiters and selling out and making excuses. Back then, we didn't have any. We didn't have the mainstream media on our side. We didn't have anything. We didn't have covers of Time magazine and all this. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. It just shows that for all the quote-unquote radicalism that ACT UP gave, that, damn it, queer people have a voice. And even though HIV is not a queer disease, because just like coronavirus, it doesn't discriminate. Right? The majority of people in this world with HIV disease are heterosexual. But, you know, there's always going to be those who want to hate, want to lay blame, want to point fingers, want to make themselves feel bigger than you for some reason. Larry Kramer let us know that we didn't have to put any of that crap, that we were the chosen people. We were the children of the revolution. Oh, God. I would like to, you know, I'm rambling, and it's just, there's so much history here. Personal history, particularly. As I remember when ACT UP folded, when it all went down, because I was there in British Columbia at the International AIDS Conference, when things just went straight to hell. And I worked for a pharmaceutical company. Did that for 10 years, working on HIV drugs, and been a lifelong, tireless advocate for this. Because it's still happening, right? It's still happening, and even with the drugs and all that, there's still disparities in healthcare. There's still disparities in getting prevention and PrEP drugs out, and it attacks populations that aren't gay white men, primarily now. And we all forget that it was Larry. Sometimes all it takes is one person to stand up. And he wasn't the most well-liked person at times. And, and that's okay. That didn't stop who he was. Sometimes we're all assholes, trust me, I know. Sometimes we open our big mouths and things just come out and we don't mean to, they just do. Doesn't mean that our hearts aren't in the right place. And I think that's what people forgot and just didn't really understand about Larry sometimes. Yeah. We can be very impassioned. And still screw it up. For all the screw-ups, there were so many beautiful and wonderful memories. Even during those really, really dark times when I came out in the mid-'80s, when I left home, when I was 15, and my family disowned me because I was going to die from this. And, that was it, right? I was just another faggot with AIDS, right? Yeah, in the 80s, when we had no drugs, we had no treatments, and we had no hope. But Larry told us that we didn't need anyone else but ourselves. And sometimes that's all it takes, is for one person to say, you have value. We're all struggling right now. Things are awful. I'd like to say that, Larry, you were my brother. I got to meet you once. You're funny as hell. I don't think that people don't really talk about that. He was actually very kind to me and very, very sweet. Because all of the drama and the BS comes back, right? And all the funerals. You'd meet somebody on a Monday, and 2 Fridays from then, you'd be going to their funeral. That's the way it was. It's tough. To all the fighters out there, I love you. Some of us are still fighting. We're fighting in the streets. Sometimes we're wearing gorilla masks, and some people don't get it. Some things aren't for you to get. There are times when standing on the sidelines is an option. At least it isn't for some of us. And yeah, we're getting on in age. We got a few more gray hairs than I did just about a year ago. And that's all right. I'm still an asshole. And there's some value in that. I'd love to say see you on the other side, my brother. But this side was so wonderful. So knowing that the next side, whatever that takes place, will be even more fabulous. And we'll get to see our absent friends once again. All right, I've gone on long enough about this. Silence does equal death. Don't ever forget that. Stay strong. Love yourselves. Love one another. Admit when you're wrong. And fight the good fight. Love to you all.